Hello friends, my name is RagePanda1 and have I got some exciting news for you, especially if you're one of the people like me who is excited about the Naga clan. I have real good news for you, let me tell you right now. But first, let's hop into the Grand Bazaar. And what is this? How bizarre indeed. They're giving away free stones. Thank you. I appreciate it. Nice to see that they're giving us some of that good. I have a screenshot here, courtesy of Cyrax on my Discord. If you would like to join my personal Discord for my YouTube endeavors, go ahead and check the description below. There's a link for you. We can see here that between February 2nd and February 8th, we are going to have the Dravapala champion. Now, the reason that I pronounce it that way is because there is a Hindu word, which is Dravapala, which is spelled exactly the same except for the R and the V are switched. Maybe they just typed it wrong, or maybe they had to switch it for purposes unknown to me. It is a Sanskrit term that belongs to the category of noun, and it means doorkeeper and is associated with the architecture of Hinduism. So Dravapala is how that's pronounced, and Dravapala, I guess, is how we're going to pronounce our new Naga clan. So speaking of our new Naga clan, they are now in the renowned champion section, which means that we're going to have a look at their skills, but we also get to have a look at the Simir skills, our lion people. Now, I've already been gently scolded once for calling these male and female lion, so y'all better watch your butts. If you start spreading that around, then Sylvie's going to come after you. So I think it's appropriate that we start with the Simir first, as they are going to be coming out first. And one thing that I want to express here is that they don't have to show us both of these clans. They didn't have to tell us when the next one was coming, and the old GOAT games from a month ago probably would not have, because they don't want us to be able to figure out if we want to save our stones for the next thing. Now they are doing that, and we know that other clans are being recycled again, so we know that eventually, probably within the next 6 weeks, could even be within the next 3 or 4 weeks, we're probably going to be seeing the Dravapala again, so it's likely that a lot of people are going to wish they had stones for that, and you're probably going to end up spending money to get them when they come out, because they're so good. So, the transparency here is fantastic. And you know what? Before I forget, I'm going to shout out GOAT Games for another really good thing. If we go into our Guild Conquest, now, I don't have a lot of good things to say about Guild Conquest. I didn't have a good time doing it, and I'm not the biggest fan. However, when we click on our Season tab, we still see the Bloodcraft shards for our Bloodstorm Legend, and guess what? I have confirmed with GOAT Games employees that this shard is always going to be available in this section, and they are not going to take it away, so you can work on it over several courses of Guild Conquest. When the next season is done, then this Ignis Phoenix-looking awesome girl, who looks like she's probably mixed with Trevane, by the way, she will be moved into the Season tab, and you will be able to chase her down just as you are now with the Bloodstorm Legend. I think it's really great that they're going to keep them around permanently. That is reducing your fear of missing out, and it is relieving the pressure on you, and that encourages me to want to spend money on the game. I'm looking at the stuff that's coming out right now with these two warriors, and I want good warriors. These seem like they're pretty good warriors. I might spend money so that I can have both of them, because you know what? GOAT Games is headed in the right direction, and if there's good deals available, I might just make that happen for myself. Get myself a little treat. All right, without any further dudes, let's get into the skills here. For the passive on our female Simir, we have Resisting Slap. When taking damage higher than 10% of the champion's max constitution, the champion will resist damage, and that has a 4-second cooldown. So this probably isn't going to save you in a storm of ultimates, but it will save you from one ultimate, and I'm not sure what they mean exactly by will resist damage. If it means you're going to resist a % of damage, it's a pretty good passive. Either way, it's a pretty good passive unless that number that you're resisting is very low. If you completely negate the hit, however, that's a little bonkers. That is a really good passive if that is the way that works. But that remains to be seen, and it's going to be speculation until we use her, because it just does not give enough information in that description, as is often the case. I do want to note that the strength here is actually a reasonable number for these warriors. It's not crazy high, but it's pretty high, and I'm happy with that. Her active skill, Bash and Slash, is going to be cinematic as all get out, and I bet it's going to be real fun to use. I don't know if it's going to be super good, but it seems fine. She's going to throw her shield forward to attack all enemies along a path. A Captain America shield throw. Let's go. Dealing damage equal to 135% of the champion's strength. After that, the champion dashes forward, slashes all enemy with a fan-shaped, not pie-shaped area. Dealing damage equal to 135% of the champion's strength. They'll retrieve the shield. They wield their last slash at the enemies in front, dishing out damage equal to 180% of the champion's strength, knocking them back a short distance. And the last slash is guaranteed to cause a critical hit. That is pretty cool. If we add up all of those totals, we're looking at 450% attack, with a large portion of that being a guaranteed crit. I think that's a pretty strong hit, but line attacks in this game can be hard to line up. Once you start introducing some knockbacks, though, that can be a little bit easier to do, but when you're talking about an active skill, it's hard to judge who's going to go first. So you're going to notice a trend here when I'm talking about the Simir clan, and that is that a lot of this stuff could be really good, and it could be not so good. We really just have to test it. So if you're one of those people who's not sure what you're going to summon on, you should wait until people get some testing done so that you can see if this is worth it to you. Her ultimate sounds super interesting to me. She roars furiously to intimidate nearby enemies for 1 second, attacks them 3 times, dealing damage equal to 550% of the champion's strength, and increases the target's damage taken by 20%, preventing them from using ultimate skills for 3 seconds. So it sounds like this is going to be an AoE attack. I'm not sure what intimidate nearby enemies for 1 second means. That could be a fear, and those kinds of CCs are super good. Problem with if it is a fear and they go running away and you're trying to do an AoE attack, that's not so good. If it just makes them cower and stand in place, then that would be a lot better. But, you know, like I said, it remains to be seen, and we'll just have to check it out when she gets there. But I think it seems super interesting, and the extra damage taken by 20% could be great, especially because it sounds like this person is going to do reasonable damage. Not crazy damage, reasonable damage, which is all I want from my warriors. It sounds like she's going to be reasonably tanky, and so you could do something like a full buff team. Also, I really like these models. I think that they're very cool. I like all the glowy extra stuff. Really awesome sword on there. Big fan. I think it's important that I go through all of the skills on all 4 of these champions. It's going to be a longer video, but you know, lots of interesting stuff to go through. And then we'll talk about who I think you should summon and which one is really good. For our male, man, his armor looks cool. Don't he look cool? The champion marks a territory at the start of battle. All enemies have their strength reduced by 35% when they are in the territory. For each enemy killed within the territory, the debuff effect is strengthened by 25%, and the champion's strength is increased by 20%. This effect is stackable. So I'm assuming when it says that the debuff effect is increased by 25%, it means 25% of the 35%. I don't think it's going to go up to 60%, because then you're talking about 85%, and next thing you know, they have no strength at all. So it's going to scale well and be good, but it depends on the size of the area, which is just something we don't know right now. And like I said, with the Simir clan, there's a lot of stuff we don't know. Can't tell if it's good yet, but that sounds like it could be very good. You're negating, if they're in this thing and it has no stacks at all, you're negating a fierce and a half. So you're basically turning a mythic character into a legendary character just by having this guy on your team. But it depends on the area, where he places it, how big it is, what are the odds that you're going to get the people in there that you want in there. We just don't know. We'll go to his active skill. He spins rapidly in a circle with his blade moving forward, hitting all enemies within a rectangular area in front, knocking them back and dealing damage equal to 450% of the champion's strength, the exact percentage that we saw in the other one, although she gets a guaranteed crit. Sounds like he will do a better job of hitting more people. I'm interested to see the animation on this skill, because it sounds like it's going to look pretty cool. I'm not sure that having displacement with having the circle that we want to keep people in is the best plan, unless he tends to put this in the back and you're going to then push people into the back. Then it's great. Once again, with the Simir clan, which it's impossible to say if this stuff is going to be good or not. It sounds good, it could be good. Gotta test it. For his ultimate, he snarls at an enemy champion with the highest strength, dealing damage equal to 650% of the champion's strength, and inflicting stunned for 3 seconds. That is pretty much the male Tidestorm ult, but also all enemies between the champion and the target will also be knocked back and take damage equal to 300% of the champion's strength. If the target is killed by this skill, the champion recovers 200 energy. So, all of that big extra brick of text after stunned. In the Tidestorm version, he doesn't do any of that. Instead, he gets a double damage if the person has less than 30% health. I personally think that the Simir one is better for general content. I think the Tidestorm one is better for boss fights, but also these characters are not identical and they don't have the same job, so it's hard to compare even though their ultimates are so similar. I think it's a really good ultimate, but one of the problems again that we're running into is that we're talking about line attacks, and especially when we're talking about line attacks with somebody who's in melee, it can be a little dicey whether you're gonna really get something good. So especially since he's displacing people already, I feel like his kit might just be working against itself a little bit, but maybe they've tested it and they've gone through that and they know that it's gonna work out just fine. Basically, we want a relatively big area on the passive. We want it to generally target the back row, and then we want Tornado Slash to push us into the back row with the rest of the melee that we're in there, so everybody's in that circle. And then if it works that way, it's great grouping people up. It's going to be really good for people like Male Ignis, and I think that it could be a really good kit. Or it could all be disjointed garbage that doesn't work together. We will see. So Simir Clan comes out first. You really want to wait until people do testing before you go hard on these summons. You might be not getting what you want to get, or they could be really good. So in our little screenshot, this name, by the way, Dravapala, was spelled differently, so I'm not sure if it's supposed to be D-V-A-R, D-R-A-V, or DVRAV. Hard to tell. I don't blame them for spelling it wrong. I'll never get it right myself. Alright, now we get into the real meat and potatoes of this video. Again, apologies for this being a long one. We got 2 clans to cover. Strength is looking good again. This passive. Toxic Toxin. What a name. The champion secretes a dangerous toxin. Whenever the champion takes damage, the attacker bleeds for 2 seconds, taking damage equal to 200% of the champion's strength. The toxin also reduces the attacker's attack speed by 30% for 5 seconds, which can stack up to a max of 150%. The secreted toxin also increases Naga's resistance against non-normal attack by 20%. So there's a lot of great stuff there, especially the very last part of that passive is going to be 20% damage reduction against ultimates that would be the big dangerous ultimates like your mages, and of course their active skills. This does a reasonable amount of damage, and I was somewhat expecting there to be poison / bleed sort of stuff. And I think that this could be really good. Reducing the attack speed also reduces the amount of energy they will gain. And that goes into our active skill. The champion unleashes an arcane serpent which slithers between enemies. Each jump deals damage equal to 200% of the champion's strength, inflicts stunned briefly, and steals 25% of the target's current energy. The damage is increased by 10% with each jump, and after reaching the last target, the serpent returns to the naga and brings back the stolen energy. So you get the energy that is stolen from this. Now, we don't know how long it takes for this animation to happen. We don't know how many people it is going to jump between. I can't imagine it's going to jump between all 5 enemies. If it does, then this is probably a little overpowered. It would be doing way too much damage. That would be an ultimate skill. Basically, that would become an ultimate skill at that point, and it would be doing just a ton of damage, a ton of CC, energy control, like just, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. If it only goes up to like 3 people, it's probably fine. But at 5 people, I think that's going to be, well, it's a great reason to summon Nagas, I'll put it that way. Remember, this stuff is subject to change. They might listen to this video with me talking about how excited I am and decide to nerf it all before it comes out. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if that's why the Naga got delayed, because stuff's real good. They might be looking whether they need to nerf it before they release it, because it's illegal for them to nerf stuff in some areas of the world if you paid money to be able to summon the thing. So they need to make sure that they have it right before it comes out. Her ultimate inflicts a deadly curse on the furthest enemy within a certain radius, summons 4 tails to hit the target successively, dealing total damage equal to 750% of the champion's strength. The last hit will pull the target to the champion. The death curse will inflict silence on the target. If the enemy target is killed by the curse, it will count as triggered. Each curse triggered permanently increases the champion's strength by 20%, which can be stacked. So, that's a little complicated, but essentially you're doing 4 hits. The last hit pulls the target to you. It inflicts a silence on them. If they die while they are silenced, then your champion will gain 20% strength, and that can stack on top of itself as much as you keep killing people. Now, that's going to be real interesting for other game modes like Guardian Defense and stuff like that. The potential to stack that increasingly high could be really cool, and I'm not sure exactly when it would drop off during those fights. Probably each wave, but who knows. So, I think this kit personally is the best kit out of all 4 of them. We still have the male to talk about, but I think that she does so many things so well that she's not overpowered in any one area of anything that she does, but her whole kit comes together to make her a very good warrior that you definitely want on your team. I do think that she's stronger than most champions in the game if she comes out of the gate and keeps this kit, and I think that's fine. I don't think she's so overpowered that she's broken or anything. I just think that she's a little bit above the cut, and warriors need that. So I'll be interested to partake in some discussion about this, and maybe I'm missing something that makes it wildly overpowered. Again, I think it's very good. I think it's very strong. I'm not sure that it needs to be nerfed, but I do think that maybe this should only hit 3 targets. If we're being realistic about it, obviously I want to have one and have it hit all 5, but realistically I think that might be a little bit too strong, because you could very well fill your entire energy bar off of this active skill, and if you just ulted and then you do that right away, fill it, ult again, could be nutty. Also, she looks cool AF. Very happy with this design. I was looking for more of the lizard type of thing, but they went with the Hindu style, and I'm a big fan. I was thinking more fantasy world, and they were not on that same page. It's fine, because they did a good job. Look at this tiny little shield on this guy. But I love all these effects on the weapons and stuff. They're really trying to up their game with the art, and I appreciate that. So this is really the ability that I think that they delayed the Naga about. They don't even have the information on there now. Like, they don't even know what to kind of tell us. Scale reflection. The sturdy Naga scale armor has a 20% chance to resist damage when attacked. If the effect is triggered, the attacker takes damage equal to N% of their strength. So, the person that hits you is going to take damage based on their strength. I think that that is a super cool effect. I wonder how much damage you're able to resist. If you're just resisting all of it, like I said for the previous ability that had this type of thing, that's crazy good. And if it's 1 in 5 hits you're doing this and it can trigger on basic attacks, that is also crazy, and this would be the biggest counter to male gull tongue and female Travain that I've ever seen in my life. So this skill could be very, very, very good, and it could also be a big bag of garbanzo beans. It depends on how they tweak it. Depends on how much damage you resist. His active skill pulls all enemies in front in a fan-shaped area to melee range. I wonder how big that area is, but that's awesome. That is awesome. It's also awesome that they said fan-shaped area instead of pie-shaped again. I guess I got under their skin when I made fun of them about that. Sorry guys, apologies. This also inflicts taunt and reduces their strength by 50%. Now remember, when something is taunted, it can't use its active skills or ultimates. So for 3 seconds, they're going to be all in front of you, all getting taunted, and basically hitting you for nothing. Taunted enemies can only launch normal attacks. Bro, Loyal is good on this guy. Loyal is good on this guy because when you taunt for that 3 seconds, you are just going to be immune to damage. Unless somebody was outside of that taunt range, you're just going to be immune to damage. So it's possible that this passive is going to do a lot of damage. But if this passive is not doing that much damage, I don't think this character is going to do that much damage, but he's going to be pretty survivable if he can be getting this off regularly. All right, his ultimate slashes enemy targets in front, sweeping them with their snake tail to inflict stun on them. It does not give us a time for that stun, which is unfortunate. Deals damage equal to 650% of the champion's strength, and scale armor gets strengthened again. The resistance chance increasing to 40% for 5 seconds. 40% of the time you are going to trigger this, and then it's going to do damage. So if this N% is a decent number, this man's gonna be popping off. And even if he is only a slightly tanky boy, he's still gonna be worth it for the enemy control that you can inflict on the team. I mean, this is nuts. And it's something that I'm really glad they put into the game. I just hope that it's not too strong, you know? Of course, the alternative is that they make the fan-shaped area way too small and you don't ever hit a backliner with it, and then it's kind of worthless, but we'll see. So if I'm picking a clan here between the two of these that we want to definitely summon on, I would say the Naga clan is the one that you want to summon on, with the caveat that they have the ability to change this stuff still. We don't know that it's going to definitely stay the way that it is right now, but the way that it is right now, I think that they are the stronger clan. We also need to take into account that clan traits exist, and we don't actually get to look at those clan traits on this screen still, which is unfortunate. I wish that when I clicked on the renowned champion or the history or something, that maybe they would, oh hey, the history is empty. Maybe somewhere on there they would have the clan trait, or even in one of the corners somewhere. So if I'm just missing it, then you let me know. But so I think that I want both of these clans. Like, I definitely want both of these clans. However, right now I have 339 stones, and I've got 3 days until the other clan comes out, a week of them being out, a week off, and then I gotta summon again. I don't know, man. I kinda want to push it and just spend money if I have to spend money, you know? Just do the thing. Honestly, I have so much more to talk about, but this video is long, and I'm sure there's 4 people left watching at this point. To those 4 people, I would like to extend my gratitude for you making it to the end of this video. And hey, maybe I earned a like since you stayed this long, but even if I didn't, I still want to thank you for watching. I have been RagePanda1, and I will see you in the next one.